Hello guys, welcome to another video. The Lament of an Immortal, Worlds Collide by IAWWMS. Chapter 12, The Arrival to the Other World, The Old Friend. While in the firmament the sun began to show its first rays of light, a storm of sand lashed the plain outside the capital city of Ch12. Hundreds of steel warriors stood guard over the last standing city of that world. The wind roared with fervor as the golems took up their battle positions. The chatter of the girls could be heard faintly, the bustle of the Babylon sisters, talking as they finished setting up the base of operations. "This feels nostalgic," Flora said to Monica, striking up a conversation. "You could say so, it's been a long time since we last did something like this," Monica stated with a smile. "We didn't do much after the crisis with the phrases, still, even after that our duty was just to be at our master's command," pointed out would be a girl with glasses and short hair. "You are right fam, no matter what happened. Our duty was always to be at the service of our master," was heard behind them. It was Parsh, the warehouse terminal. And as the sisters' conversation continued, the sound of several horses galloping to the place began to be heard, which caught the attention of those present. And soon the arrival of more than 200 soldiers at the base of operations caught the attention of those present. "Who are you?" he said, unsheathing his sword, as the rest of his companions followed in his footsteps. "Are you allies of those wicked demons?" "We came to help. We," Azusa answered, but at that moment a girl spoke. "Stop Zelina, they are not here to harm us," she was heard from the skies. It was Mile, the Silver Knight girl and Zelina's teacher. "What do you say, teacher? Do you even know these individuals?" questioned the elven girl. "It's been a while sis, how have you been?" Mile replied, greeting the Babylon terminals. "Miss Mile, nice to see you again," pointed out Monica, bowing. Which made Azusa question. "You guys, do you know each other?" Azusa said, somewhat confused. "What does this mean, teacher?" Zelina reiterated. That's when Monica spoke up. "We have known Miss Mile for a long time, centuries to be precise," stated Monica, being seconded by the rest of her sisters. It wasn't something out of the ordinary. Way back, long before the loss of their family, Tuya and his wives were traveling around different worlds vacationing. That's when they met Mile. "Did you say centuries?" Azusa questioned, assuming that Mile was just like her, a reincarnate in another world. "That's right, thanks to Tuya coming to this world my life changed," she pointed out somewhat seriously, making Azusa think that she was a suitor of Tuya, which made her feel a little uncomfortable. Could it be an old girlfriend? Tuya didn't say anything about that. Could it be that his wives didn't accept her? Wait, what am I doing thinking about that? Is it jealousy? She questioned to herself. Yes, the master was also uncomfortable about what happened, said Flora, smiling at Mile. What was making Azusa's mind? More doubts arose. "Yes, thanks to Tuya's arrival in this world my life has become too long. Now I am known as the Eternal Master in the palace," Mile pointed out somewhat sarcastically and with a forced smile. "Wait, why do you say that?" questioned the blonde. "Well," expressed Mile, but was stopped by Zelina. "That doesn't matter. Who are you?" she pointed out, annoyed and with an enraged look. After that, Azusa and the Babylon terminals started to introduce themselves and explain the situation, which made the knights shocked at the news. The immortal witch explained to them about the fight that would take place and that they were in this world to help defend it. However, she explained that it was not a simple fight, since the army that devastated 3 worlds was not even half the armed force of Rimuru. The fight that will be fought now will determine the survival not only of this world but of hundreds of them. The armed force that will arrive to this world will be the complete army of Tempest, Azusa said, while the knights were incredulous at this statement. "Yes, they were strong. I already tested the sword of those demons and they are not to be taken lightly, but if we have this help on our side I'm sure we will win," Zelina exclaimed, somewhat relieved as she saw the legion of steel giants guarding the capital city. "I'm afraid you're in error, Zelina," Mile pointed out somewhat seriously to her student. "What do you mean, teacher?" questioned the elf knight, somewhat surprised. "In the previous encounter we saw a powerful army, that's true. But the reality is," explained Mile, to which Azusa continued. "That were just the tip of the iceberg. Tempest's troops are 30 to 40 times more than they faced recently," Azusa pointed out. "What do they mean?" expressed some knights of the kingdom. Silence reigned for a moment. The atmosphere was tense. The desperation of some was evident. A war against an army of such a size was suicide. However, rather than buckle, the elven girl was motivated to continue the fight. "If any of you want to return to the city and stay with your families I will understand. Family is the most important thing," But know well that if we have to die we will die with honor. I, who possess royal blood in my veins, considered all the people in the capital city as my family. I will fight and I will defend my family. We will not let a legion of demons and their army touch our loved ones. I will not force you, but if you still have a bit of love and courage for your loved ones, I ask you to stay by our side. I know that if we fight together we can recover peace and tranquility in our world," said Zelena with a distinguished voice, with a demeanor that caused everyone to follow her at will. The vestige of a defeated army was still standing, and they would not rest until they could save the whole kingdom. "We are with you, Captain. If we have to die we will die fighting. Do not say that no knight of the Crimson Legion doubt. We are all one," shouted a knight. And as more phrases of support and determination were heard, the words of a stranger who was covered with a brown robe that covered her from feet to the top of her head. "Centuries have passed, and humans are still a bunch of fools and sentimentalists. They do the craziest and most irreverent things for the people they love. Are they all that dumb?" was heard from a mysterious figure as he exhaled some fire from his breath, which made Miles smile. "So what if we are?" a gentleman pointed out to the questioning of the mysterious figure. Suddenly a beautiful smile was drawn, and with a somewhat low and happy voice he said, "They are just like you," remembering someone from his past, to then speak in a higher tone. "That pleases me." Then with a snap a protective barrier formed in the capital city, which made the knights look astonished. "It's been a long time, sister," Mile pointed out. "Hello, Mile," replied the figure to Mile with a smile. "Who are you?" Azusa questioned, intrigued. The bustle of people could be heard in the air. The noise of a busy city was evident. The city that was once home to the most influential royal family in the world was now a different place to him. He passed through the city looking for something to comfort him, turned to see the children on bicycles, and remembered when he first assembled one. The girls competed with each other to get my attention. He turned and saw a girl with a katana, another with some fighting gauntlets, and one with double short swords. Sometimes the girls would go out to marry to bring dinner. He remembered making a slight smile. He stayed that way until a gentleman's voice brought him out of his trance. "It's been a long time, Tuya." It was an elderly gentleman with a white hue in his long hair as well as in his beard, a reddish hue in his eyes, and a long scarf, with a somewhat flashy kind of clothing. "Yes, a long time," Tuya pointed out. He was somewhat reluctant, but inside he was happy to be able to see again the one who was once his friend in this world. It was Enda, the boy who could travel between worlds, the father of his once daughter-in-law. After that they went for a drink inside a familiar restaurant, a restaurant that was where Silver Moon used to be. They sat at the farthest table and started talking. "So how have Mel and the girls been?" Tuya said somewhat uneasily. "Tuya, it's been a while since you came down from heaven." Nay and Lisei. "Well, they are no longer in this world," pointed out Enda, then explained to him that because they as well as their wives perished, only they was from natural causes, as their cores were withering away. "And Mel?" Tuya questioned, somewhat surprised, but Enda answered somewhat dejectedly, "If I'm honest with you, Mel may perish in the same way. It's only a matter of time." "I'm sorry, buddy, Tuya said somewhat nervously, but Enda just smiled at him. "You don't have to feel bad, Tuya. Death is part of life. It is what it is," he said somewhat smiling. "But it still hurts," replied Tuya, giving a sigh. "Yes, it hurts, but pain helps us grow. Tuya, I know you will soon face your last test, and I know you have doubts about yourself. And it's okay. It's normal to feel that way. But you have to get over it. You're more than you imagine," said Enda somewhat smiling. "Yeah, but wait, how do you know?" Tuya said somewhat confused. "Celestial news travels everywhere. Besides, Karen comes down from time to talk to Mel," he said, laughing a little. Then he took a more serious stance. "Tuya, tell me something. Don't you think you should leave the past behind?" "How do you want me to leave it behind? I could never forget them," Tuya said, somewhat annoyed. "I would never ask you to forget them. Always keep them in your heart. Like I have Nay and Lisei. You have to turn those memories into your strength. Els, Linz and the others are your strength. Never forget that. Make the memory of them your reason to go on. Someone long ago told you, your future is very important. And above all, your future is in your hands, or am I wrong?" Enda pointed out in a calm manner, which made Tuya surprised, for those were the words Els said to Tuya when he traveled to the past. "How come you know that?" Tuya pointed out somewhat sadly. "I'm just fulfilling an assignment that my dear friend and training partner left in my hands," he replied, standing up and placing his hand on Tuya's shoulder. "Tuya, the 9 trusted you. They always did. And it's your duty to make that trust they had in you not be in vain. Even so Tuya was saying but was interrupted by Enda. Well, you have to return to the divine realm. Don't you? That blue-haired boy might be arriving in the other world any moment now. Yeah. Wait. How come you know that? Because Sir Rimuru was already in this world, pointed a girl behind them. She was a girl with dark hair and a half mask covering her face like a kind of mask. Tuya-san, don't worry about this world. He can't come back to this world again. Akari. Do you know who he is? Yes, I do, she answered, serious and motionless. By the way, Tuya, your dragon friend felt the power of that boy and came to support you. She said she wanted to pay her debt. That's right, she went to her little sister's world to support her. It's good to have the girl who can provoke Armageddon on our side. Several portals were manifesting on the outskirts of the capital city, flashes emerging from across the landscape, hundreds of orcs, goblins and lizardmen were emerging from them, like a march worthy of praise. From the sky a fissure opened as a dark and sinister mist filled the firmament. Lightning and flashes of lightning reached from the sky to the earth. The rumbling of marching troops intimidated the citizens. The battle was about to begin. The Demon King, the ruler of Tempest, the Prince of Darkness, made his appearance on the battlefield. Very well. Let's begin, said the blue-haired man with his arms crossed.